$252,000. That's the number everyone's talking about after Eala's incredible week in Washington. Over 15 million pesos. One tournament, 1 week, one title. But there's another number hiding behind it. A number that tells a completely different story. $25,000. That was the entire prize purse of the tournament where Eala won her first professional title back in 2022, in Chiang Rai, Thailand. Not what she earned. Not her prize money. The whole tournament. Every player. Every round. Everything. 4 years later, she walked away from Washington with more than 10 times that entire purse, in a single week. Sounds like the perfect success story, right? Young Filipino athlete, huge title, life-changing paycheck. But if you think $252,000 is the biggest number from Washington, you're looking at the wrong number. The money isn't the story. The money is just the receipt. The real story is what happened to her ranking. Before Washington, Eala was number 28 in the world. After Washington, she broke into the top 20. And that's a much bigger deal than it sounds, because top 20 doesn't just sit next to her name. It changes everything around her. The draws she gets, the protection she has in early round, the doors that open commercially. But before we get to any of that, we need to go back. Because behind that trophy is everything nobody sees. The flights, the hotels, the years without guarantees, and one decision her family made when she was still a child. That decision is where this story actually begins. Tennis isn't like most sports. In basketball or football, young athletes grow inside systems, teams, facilities, paid coaches, medical staff. Tennis doesn't work that way. A young player is basically running her own business. She pays for travel, coaching, physio, equipment. And if she loses early enough, she can spend more money getting to a tournament than she wins from playing it. Imagine being one of the best players on the planet, and still having weeks where your job costs you money. That was Eala's reality. And it got harder because of where she's from. There's no domestic WTA circuit outside her door. No short train ride to the next event like in Europe. No quick domestic flight like in the US. For Eala, international travel was the job, from day one. Country after country, tournament after tournament. Every trip costing money before a single ball was struck. So when people see $252,000, they see income. Her family spent years seeing something else, an investment, one that started long before the world knew her name. Think about what that actually looks like in practice. A coach doesn't travel for free. A physiotherapist doesn't fly across time zones out of charity. Hotel rooms during tournament weeks aren't cheap, and neither are the flights booked again and again on short notice because the draw only gets confirmed days in advance. Multiply that by dozens of tournaments a year, across multiple continents, for a player who, for a long stretch of her career, wasn't guaranteed to win enough prize money to cover any of it. That's the part of tennis nobody puts in a highlight reel. It's not glamorous. It's spreadsheets. It's flights booked at a loss. It's a family deciding year after year that the bet is still worth making even without proof it will pay off. And for a family from the Philippines, there was an extra layer to that bet. No nearby tour to lean on. No cluster of tournaments a short drive away. Every single step of the climb required crossing oceans first. Then came the decision that changed everything. Eala joined the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca on scholarship, leaving the Philippines while still a child. Leaving her parents, her home, her language, her normal childhood. For what? No contract. No guarantee of a top 20 ranking. No promise of a Grand Slam. Just potential. A bet on the future. And that's exactly why Washington can't be understood as one tournament. It's the payoff of a process that ran for years, long before the crowds, long before the headlines, long before anyone in the Philippines knew her name. 2022, that $25,000 title in Chiang Rai. 2023, a first-round qualifying loss at the Australian Open. Her ranking climbed to 143, which sounds modest, but being 143rd in the world already puts you among the most elite athletes alive. Tennis just doesn't reward talent alone. It demands consistency and the money to keep chasing it. Then, 2025. Everything accelerated. Miami. Eala came in on a wild card. Nobody's headline. Then she beat Grand Slam champion Madison Keys. Then world number 2 Iga Swiatek. Then another. And another. Suddenly, she was in the semifinals of a WTA 1000 event. First Filipino ever to do it. Think about the size of that jump. A wild card is barely a foot in the door. It doesn't come with any expectation attached. Most players who get one lose in the first round and go home. Eala used hers to beat a Grand Slam champion, then the world number 2, and kept going match after match until the tournament ran out of rounds for her. That's not luck stacking on luck. That's a player suddenly performing at a level nobody outside her own team thought she was ready for yet, including, maybe, Eala herself. Her ranking exploded, from outside the elite straight into the top 100. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about. Ranking points expire. Exactly 52 weeks after you earn them, they vanish. So Miami wasn't just a breakthrough. It was a countdown. Eala had roughly a year to prove it wasn't a fluke, or watch it disappear. She kept climbing anyway. Eastbourne, 2025, her first WTA Tour final. She didn't win it, but reaching a final tells the tennis world you belong in the room. Winning tells them you can close the door. Two very different statements. She finished the year ranked 50th, a career high, and also a trap. At around top 50, you're good enough to skip qualifying, but not high enough to be protected from the biggest names early. You can spend months becoming one of the best players alive, then draw a Grand Slam champion in round 1. Climbing from 50 to 30 can be harder than climbing from 100 to 50. Every point matters more. And the clock on those Miami points was still ticking. So when Eala landed in Washington ranked number 28, she wasn't chasing recognition anymore. She was chasing a position. The top 20. Round 1, Zheng Qinwen, Olympic champion, win. Round 2, Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion, win. Quarterfinal, Alina Svitolina, world number 10, a player who already knew Eala's game inside out, win anyway. The player who arrived ranked 28th was now guaranteed to rise. Top 25 wasn't theoretical anymore. Semifinal, Naomi Osaka, former world number 1, 4-time Grand Slam champion. Eala didn't blink. Straight sets, 1 match left. The final, Jessica Pegula, world number 3, a former champion of the event, with the crowd and the history on her side. Eala had one thing Pegula didn't: momentum, and the chance to make history. This wasn't just a final anymore. It was a number. Win, and the ranking points push her over the top 20 line. Lose, and the door stays shut for now. Then the rain came. The match got suspended mid-final. Eala down a set. Filipino fans who'd stayed up all night got no ending, just a delay, and the weight of knowing exactly what was still at stake on the other side of that rain delay. 20. Monday. Unfinished business. Pegula had taken set 1, exactly what an experienced favorite is supposed to do. Eala was 1 set from losing the final, and 1 win away from history. Set 2 turned into a different match. Eala found her timing. She didn't need spectacular winners. She needed Pegula uncomfortable, point after point, until the world number 3 was the one reacting. She took the second set, forced a decider. And now here's the pressure almost no one talks about. Eala wasn't just playing for a trophy or a payday. She knew exactly what a win would unlock. The number. The history. The first Filipino player ever inside the WTA top 20. Most players just need to win. Eala knew precisely what winning meant. She played anyway. Pegula didn't fold. She's the world number 3 for a reason. But Eala kept absorbing pressure and giving it back. At some point, a young player has to stop asking if she belongs and start acting like she does. On that Monday afternoon in Washington, she did. She closed out the decider, beat the world number 3, won the title, and the number beside her name changed for good. Top 20, not top 100, not top 50, 20. Now about that $252,000. It's real money, life-changing money. After years of investment with no guarantees, there's something deeply satisfying about finally seeing a return. But remember that $25,000 purse in Thailand. Every player, every round, everything. Eala just earned 10 times that, alone, in 1 week. Still, the prize money only tells you what happened financially. The ranking tells you what happened professionally, and that's the part that keeps paying out. The 500 points from Washington land at the perfect time, with the US Open just weeks away. Instead of arriving in New York trying to prove she belongs among the elite, she arrives as the elite. Opponents don't get to treat her as a lucky surprise anymore. They have to prepare for her. That's a compliment. It's also a burden. So what does top 20 actually buy her? 3 things. First, draw protection. At Grand Slams, ranking decides how early you might run into a dangerous opponent. Lower-ranked players good enough to threaten anyone can still get thrown to the wolves in round 1. Higher up, there's more room to build momentum before the toughest tests arrive, which matters, because every hard-fought match costs energy the next round doesn't refund. Second, direct entry. No qualifying rounds means no extra matches burned into her legs before the main draw even starts. Over a full season, that saved wear and tear adds up to real, physical freshness in matches that count. Third, and maybe biggest, commercial attention. Sponsors don't just look at rankings, they look at audiences. And Eala already has one of the most devoted audiences in tennis. Filipino fans filling stadium sections, staying up at impossible hours, following her across continents. Jessica Pegula herself has mentioned noticing that crowd. Now the ranking is finally catching up to the following. But there's a cost to all of this too. The underdog has freedom. Nobody studies you, nobody game plans against you. That freedom disappears the moment you're top 20. Opponents now know her patterns, her serve, her tendency. The surprise factor is gone. And those 500 points? They expire too. Same 52-week rule. Next year, she has to defend everything she just built. There's no permanent membership card at the top. You have to keep proving it. That's the next chapter. And it starts almost immediately in New York. But maybe the biggest number in this whole story isn't $252,000, isn't 500, isn't even 20. It's 1. Because Alexandra Eala is the first Filipino woman to reach this level of the WTA rankings, first to build this exact path with no blueprint to follow. Before her, a young Filipino tennis player could only dream of the WTA tour, without a single measurable example that it was possible. Now there's a number, a ranking, a title, a career path that a parent in the Philippines can point to and say, it's already been done. That might end up mattering more than any trophy. And here's the question nobody was asking a year ago, but everybody's asking now. If top 20 was possible, what stops top 10? It's not a guarantee. Nothing in this sport is. The serve still needs work. The physical side still needs to hold up over longer season. The opponents at the very top don't give away free points, and every single one of them will now walk onto the court already knowing exactly how Eala likes to construct a rally. But a year ago, top 20 sounded like a stretch too. Then it happened. That's the pattern with athletes who end up rewriting what's possible for the country they come from. They don't announce the ceiling in advance. They just keep climbing past the last one people thought was real. So when you see the $252,000 headline, remember the $25,000 purse that came before it. When you see top 20, remember the years nobody was watching. When you see thousands of Filipino fans filling the stands, remember there was a time she was just a kid with a racket and a dream that had no guarantees attached to it. Washington wasn't the finish line. It was proof. Proof the investment was real. Proof the years were worth it. Proof that a door once thought impossible is now standing wide open. The hard part isn't getting through that door once. It's walking through it again, and again, and again.